What am I doing this for? That's where the lack of myth, the lack of dream has led you dry, has led you to a desert of an eternal sun creating heat amongst the sand that burns your feet. So we're back with another episode of the Hunter Tale podcast, diving into the Red Book. This section specifically, I felt was interesting. What this section is diving into is this idea of this large god that's coming from the east. And the large god is going to the west because his belief is that on the opposite side of this flat earth is where the sun goes to die every night. When the sun dies, it is then born on the east. And since he comes from the land of the east, he knows this to be true, and his mission has endless power. He's a true creature of divine strength. But then he runs into a worm, and the worm's coming from the west. And when he begins to talk to the worm, he's like, yo, please, Mr. God, don't step on me. I am nothing but a worm in your path. I am nothingness. You are magnificent. And the God is like, why would I step on you? You're just a worm. You come with a fear. I come with an indifference to you. Right? He's like, where are you coming from, worm? And the worm is like, yo, I'm coming from the west. And he's like, you came from the west? He's like, yeah, I'm from the west. And he's like, wow, you're in the land where the sun goes to die every night. What is that like? And he's like, what do you mean sun goes to die? He's like, the sun dies on your side. That's why I'm going there so I can understand what it's like in another world. And he's like, yo, that's not how the world works, actually. It works more in a sphere, and the sun doesn't actually ever go down. It just circles, or we circle around it, actually. And the God is like, wait, what you mean? He's like, yeah, that's what we know where I come from. I come from a world that is based off of science. He's like, what is science? Science is like, it explains everything. You know that you can't actually run to the sun because the sun isn't even connected to the earth. And at that moment, the God just falls and begins to cry and make tears and wail. And the worm is like, yo, why are you crying? And he's like, I am this massive creature that has slain humans, destroyed civilizations. I have run to this point in the earth with the confidence, the delusional understanding that the sun landed over there and that I had the ability to engulf it. Like they would say, to drink the sun and to eat the earth. I had the ability to finally drink the sun. And you're telling me that there's no straw? Why do you speak poison? And this is what I find interesting. Why do you speak poison? Poison is this modern grandiose simplifying that has made humans feel like we are these small creatures that are just here. And we're explaining everything, but even with our explanation, it doesn't make us feel any stronger. It only actually makes us feel more empty. You can know all the readers, you can know all of the books, you can understand all the different forms of science, but then once it's done, you only realize that you're more powerless than you thought you were. The thing that makes humans powerful is belief. The belief will make you so much stronger because it creates this invincibility, which is beyond you. Look at what's happening with this ideological war that's occurring right now. A lot of it has based off of ideologies of who we are. Don't screw with Muslims and don't screw with Jews that believe in what they believe, because a Muslim who believes intrinsically that Allah is real, that my prayers are being heard by a higher entity, and the Quran is the only thing that is truth, your words make you feel like you're alone in this existence. Their words gives them a hope that even in the chaos of the world that we live in today, chaos is understood by something so much greater. So don't you worry, little worm, because you're going to get somewhere so much better. When you go into a war with somebody with that type of belief, they not only is the individual stronger in their certainty for what they're about to enact, but the community is stronger because all of them are on the same page of something so much bigger than just the direction of somebody else. You have the military who they'll tell you you need to go do this, this, and this, and that does become powerful. But if your underlying belief is one that this war is wrong, I shouldn't be in it, this has nothing to do with me, terrible soldier. But for somebody who's willing to do a just destructive act, like send drones to blow up people, but they're doing it under the belief of a higher purpose or higher story, myth that has been embedded inside of the culture, such as a promised land inside of a land that was granted them by God. What would a man do to gain the land that was promised to them by God if they truly believe that? And it doesn't matter whether you believe it or whether you don't believe it, because if you don't believe it, you're likely a worm who's coming from the West. You can intellectualize everything. You can tell you about all the cynics. You can tell you about all of the nihilistics. You can tell you about all of the philosophers, all of them. But internally, you're running on a treadmill with no real reason for why you're running. We love to believe that we're more enlightened, even though that enlightenment is only sending light out, leaving you dark inside. Take this for yourself, whether you want to connect it to the world or connect it to your own existence. If you want to connect it to your own existence, think about your purpose. Myths are like dreams. If you know that you ultimately want to become this CEO because you have this dream to obtain something in this world, whether it's money, whether it's you just want the fame, whether you just want the accolades, whether you just have the ambition push you forward, eventually you're going to stop and go, what am I doing this for? That's where the lack of myth, the lack of dream has led you dry, has led you to a desert of an eternal sun creating heat amongst the sand that burns your feet. That's where you get to this point in your existence. Once you have to begin to question again, knowledge is not key when it comes down to making massive changes in this world. You got to have a dream. The reason why I'm building this massive business is because I have a dream. But that's a very large dream that can cause somebody to continue to move forward with a lack of fear and an extreme amount of grandiose that they can't achieve that which they do. So I was having a conversation with my girl. We were talking about the war and Bitcoins. And I was pretty much just saying, like, what kind of asset class does not appreciate during the fall of the other asset class that is supposed to be a hedge against? So she began to just give me the runoff of every single thing needed in order for you to understand why Bitcoin would be great. Everything from it's decentralized, you can't just print money, you just can't print it all you want. Everybody has access to it, all you need is a phone. This is dogma. Dogma was just the derogatory term used to put down myths, because myths make something seem invincible. And so you're willing to run with this myth to the edge of the world. And that is what gives humans power. But when I asked her, okay, well, I hear all the great things that you've told me about, you know, your myth, Bitcoin. What is something that's negative? Everything went blank. The biggest negative is that it's cool. I said, that's not a negative. She said, the biggest negative is that it's not everywhere yet. That sounds like what the Crusaders probably said. But if she does embody the question that I asked her, which is what is one negative, and she begins to really think on that, well, her confidence in what Bitcoin will be will fall. And she's less likely to invest as aggressive as she does, because now she's questioning whether or not her investment is one that's based off of dogma or one that's based off of knowledge. And so my thing is, I actually apologize. I'm going to apologize to her, because that doesn't help her. It's only poison that leaves the giant slain in the path. And you don't want to slay your partners. Don't slay your partners. Allow for your partners to lend in grandiose. Even if you're awake, don't go around waking everybody up. That's what they were trying to teach us with Santa Claus, with the Easter Bunny, with the Tooth Fairy. Don't go around waking everybody up. Don't be that kid. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. Instead, find your myth and use your myth to create whatever change you think waking everybody else up is going to achieve. And that's how you use every aspect of our current world to build back better. That's what the community I'm building around is going to achieve.